Rarely does a conjunction mark a central theological point. Most of the time, conjunctions simply tell us how two or more things are related. When we hear the word but, we know that what follows is an important qualification of what has come before. I like ice cream, but only chocolate chip. The but here already signals that I'm going to qualify something about how I like my ice cream. Similarly, when we hear the word or, we instantly know that we're dealing with a contrast or a choice. Perhaps the most common conjunction is and. When we hear the word and in a sentence, we know we're going to connect two or more things together. In the Apostles' Creed, the word and connects the first and second articles, making a major theological statement about our Christian faith. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Thursday, June 19th, 2025. I believe in God the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, and in Jesus Christ, his only Son, our Lord, and in Jesus Christ. I alluded yesterday to the fact that some early Christians rejected the Creator God as an evil and capricious God, whose creation is also evil, and that this God has entrapped our souls in dirty material bodies from which Jesus Christ has come to rescue us. The person most responsible for formulating this theology was a man named Marcion, who was born late in the first century. His father was a bishop in the church, and Marcion followed him into church leadership. However, Marcion had a strong dislike of both Judaism and the material world as we know it. To him, the world is filled with nothing but violence and filth. He had an especially strong aversion to sex and childbirth. As a result, he rejected the God of the Old Testament, the creator of the heavens and the earth, as a malevolent God. There could be no relationship between this malevolent God and the God and Father of Jesus Christ, let alone of Jesus Christ himself. So it was against this system of belief that the Apostles' Creed inserted the simple conjunction and. I believe in God the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, and in Jesus Christ, his only Son, our Lord. We believe that the God who created all there is also the God whom we know in Jesus Christ. Yesterday I talked about the idea that our belief in the Creator God points to a judgment about creation itself, and that it is good. One of you responded by asking about the idea that creation is fallen, and that certainly is true. It is what you might call a corrupted good, broken but still good. And it is into this broken world that God sent Jesus Christ. Perhaps more than any of the things we confess about Jesus Christ, and in the lines that follow, the word and establishes who he is, how he relates to God the Father, how he relates to the Creator, and what he came to do, which is redeem human beings within this created order. Among the several lessons we can learn here, let me suggest just two things that this tells us. First, Jesus came not to save our souls from captivity within our mortal bodies, but to save us, body and soul, from separation from God. Many Christians, even today, talk about a dichotomy of body and soul, which is not far from what Marcion imagined. But the Bible knows nothing of this kind of dichotomy. We are not material bodies that house a separate and immortal soul. Our existence is material. As we will see later in the Creed, when we say we believe in the resurrection, it is the resurrection of the body that we believe in. I'm aware that some of you will find this troubling and may even want to challenge me on it. And you would have some support in the tradition for your challenge. But all I'm really saying here is that against Marcion, our salvation is not a freeing of an immaterial soul from a material body. A second thing this all tells us is that if we want to know Jesus Christ, it is not enough to read the New Testament. For the God whom we know as the maker of heaven and earth is the God whom we come to know in the Old Testament, the Hebrew Scriptures. What Jesus Christ comes to do is in absolute continuity with God's purposes in the Old Testament. Of the many passages I could read, let me just refer to one verse from Genesis, where God has called Abram and makes a covenant with him. Part of that covenant is the promise of land and descendants, but it is the forward-looking view of this covenant that points to Jesus Christ. God says, "I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and the one who curses you I will curse. And in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed." We believe that in Jesus Christ, God is fulfilling this promise of blessing to all the families and nations of the earth. Marcion's theology rattled around some corners of the church for a while, and even after it was rejected by the council of the church, a Marcionite church existed for several centuries. But ultimately, it died out. Instead, we have a faith that keeps body and soul together, literally and figuratively. Let me close with a portion of the opening words of the Gospel of John. "And the Word became flesh and lived among us, and we have seen his glory, the glory as of a Father's only Son, full of grace and truth." Tomorrow, a deeper dive into who Jesus is. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.